This is Jason J. Lewis, the voice of Superman on Justice League Action.
This is Mark Waid, writer of Superman Birthright.
And you're listening to the Krypton Report.
And you're listening to Krypton Report.
Up in the sky, look!
It's a bird!
It's a plane! It's the Krypton Report!
The All Things Kryptonian podcast, including Superman and Supergirl.
We discuss games, movies, cartoons, TV shows, and comics.
Find us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter.
It's a bird! It's a plane! It's Supergirl!
All right. Hey, Junia.
Hello, Tyler.
I think we just had a religious experience. My heart can't take it.
Come on, baby. You gotta tell him about it.
I'm trying. Just the tears. I met another Superman.
Mm-hmm. I did too.
I mean, technically, yeah, we met him as a family. But I met another Superman. And judging by my mom, she probably thinks I'm crazy because we all know, she never listened to this podcast, so I can say anything freely. I worship Superman. Did you know that?
Yeah, it's the Cult of Cal, right?
This is the Cult of Cal, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we've met another one of our prophets. That's right, dear listeners. We got to meet Tom Welling and Laura Vanderbilt. I keep forgetting, I was so overwhelmed meeting Tom that she was there too. And I mean, she's Supergirl, but, it was Tom, my favorite Superman. And Michael Rosenbaum, which is your favorite.
My favorite. I flippin' love that man.
So it was great. We got to meet him at Wizard World Columbus and get our picture taken. It is on our social media sites. It's a beautiful photo. You'll notice my beautiful, beautiful children, my beautiful wife looking smashing, and then that chud to the side, me, standing over there next to Laura. Yeah.
Oh, whatever.
But it was a great time. The con was cool. It was a fun time. The picture was a little stressful just because it was at the end of the day and the children were ready.
They were ready to be done.
We scheduled to be the last thing we did before we left, but they were 2-year-old, 4-year-old.
Waiting in line all that time, and then, yeah. And then by the time we got up there, Solomon was so antsy he didn't want to sit still for the picture. Thank God Rosenbaum was there because we were trying to get Solomon to stand still, and Solomon wouldn't, so Michael Rosenbaum just grabbed him around the waist and pulled him in tight and held him still for the picture.
Yeah, and Solomon went right to him.
Yeah.
He wasn't hesitant. And so today, so we put the picture in a frame on our wall of fandom. That's a good way. Family fandom.
Family fandom.
Because we got our picture with Solomon as a baby.
With Momoa.
With Momoa. Then we have the picture from last year of all 4 of us with Momoa. And then we have our picture with Ray Park, which is just you and me. And then we have our Smallville photo. And today my mom was over and Solomon was pointing to it and talking to and that's Lex Luthor, and that's Superman. And she was kind of like, yeah, my dad could care less. He's like, whatever. But, he gives me crap yeah, so big deal. But we all know if my dad met John Wayne, he'd probably crap his pants.
Well, yeah, but in heaven.
I mean, not John Wayne now, that'd be morbid. But I mean, if he met John Wayne back when he was alive,
All right. Yeah.
He'd be like, hell there, Pilgrim. My dad'd be like, ugh, I need to change myself. But
wow. All right.
It's just funny because if you knew my dad, he's got John Wayne pictures and a really cool copper face statue and stuff all over. But then he gives me crap about my Superman.
It's the Cult of Cal. That's
yeah.
Why.
I mean
it is. So that was a really cool experience. Rosenbaum seemed to be a really cool dude, like I suspected he was. But we were getting ready to leave there at the end, and I will never forget, he was so enthralled by Selah that he was like, can I get a hug? And if you know my daughter, which many of you don't, Selah is... she never hugs anybody.
Strong-willed is an understatement.
Yeah, she's a force of nature. She's not about lovey-dovey stuff, kisses, hugs with anyone. But she leaned right on in and gave Rosenbaum the biggest hug. It surprised all of us. And
she looked adorable, in her Supergirl costume.
She was a little Supergirl, yep. Yes, you Supergirl.
Come here and say that, baby. Come here. Come here.
Come here. You want to say it? Come here, say Supergirl.
And that's an example of her stubbornness. She's just looking at us deadpan, she's 2 going on 16.
Yeah, she is.
You want to say something, Selah?
Come on. Say, I was Supergirl.
All right. But also what was cool is we got to meet Teddy Sears, who you might know he played Zoom, Hunter Zolomon, on Flash Season 2. He was an awesome guy. Got to chat with him. I knew more about his back catalog of work, I think, than some fans he interacts with, and we got to discuss a couple of things, and that was great. He was a really approachable guy, really fun to talk to.
Very nice.
And Drew Powell, who is Butch / Solomon Grundy on Gotham. And he was fun and entertaining. Like that guy won me over. Like, I liked him as Butch.
Yep.
But now but now like I will like look more into his stuff because he was awesome.
He was great with our kids too. Solomon, as you guys know, his name is Solomon. So he absolutely loves the character Solomon Grundy because they have the same name. So Solomon was so excited to interact with Drew, and Drew's like, "Oh my gosh, you've got my name, man!" Like, it was really cute. They were adorable.
It was a great time, and now we are 2 Superman down. Last year I went and got to meet Dean Cain. This year's Tom. I'm averaging one a year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So next, the next one on the list is whoever I can meet. But if I had my pick, I'd want to meet Brandon Routh. I missed him at Metropolis last year. Well, technically, last calendar year, so 2 celebrations ago. But yeah, he's the one I want to meet. I'll meet any of them. I mean, I'm not going to turn down meeting a Superman. I mean, I'll meet Superboy too because they're all awesome. I want to meet them all to add to my picture collage. But yeah.
Yeah, I do have to have an honorable mention here because I would be remiss if I did not say something. But anyway, so we got to take all these pictures with all these awesome super people. Super, like I did that.
I do.
We also got to take our picture with Mr. Cary Elwes, and he was a peach. That guy was super sweet. Super sweet, probably hands down one of my best celeb experiences ever.
And if you're like, who is that? Most known for being Robin Hood and Robin Hood Men in Tights, Wesley from The Princess Bride, and of course Dr. Gordon from Saw. Yeah.
But anyway, man was absolutely amazing. Loved Sayla too. I don't know what it is about that girl.
Because she's a magnet of amazement.
Apparently, but he took time with us and talked to us and stuff, and he was a very genuinely sweet dude. So I had to say something about him just because he's amazing. So yeah.
It was a great time, and I look forward to our next family adventure to meet a Superman.
Yes.
Hey guys, if you're enjoying this podcast, just want to say you should check out some of the other podcasts that Southgate has to offer, especially if you're really into comics like we are. Check out Capes and Lunatics, where sometimes you'll find me when I'm not too busy saving the world. Nuff Said, Super Connectivity. Capes and Lunatics even has the Sidekicks episode as well. Check out those feeds as well as Titans Talk to get all your DC comic needs. Or Marvel. They're there too.
Welcome to the Krypton Report. We got a lot of off-mic talking today and a lot of good points. So we're just going to kind of sum up what my co-host, Mr. James Cole over here, and I were discussing this bright and early morning as we're recording kind of early here in the cold wonder wasteland of Ohio. So first thing, real quick, we were discussing for everybody just how great Jim Lee's artwork is. As we're discussing
his New 52 Justice League image.
The first one that they released where it has the Justice League standing there where we got the first glimpse at Cyborg. And we were just discussing how he drew Wonder Woman with pants. And then she never had pants in the New 52. That was literally the image that stuck out about New 52 Wonder Woman. And she never had pants.
And he drew her so well.
Yeah.
Like, the costume looks great. I mean, I really liked how they did the silver and the red, even the red kind of as a full body corset or something. It still kind of looked like it was a armored type thing,
Yeah.
And the silver looked really good. I don't think, it's always been gold for the most part, but I think the silver actually looked pretty good. Something new, and it didn't hurt the look of the character.
So it was very interesting, you know. So
Jim Lee's fantastic. So
I mean, he is, and that's what's crazy. It's like he did this and then didn't do anything else. So I don't know, but it's just kind of funny. But we're not here to talk about Wonder Woman and all that fun stuff as much as we would like to.
Another powerful woman we're here to talk about.
We're here to talk about Supergirl, the current closest super series we have since Krypton. Rest in peace. I was talking about Krypton the other day. I was just like, yeah. Phil and I were discussing Watchmen, and he's like, I hope it lasts longer than Krypton did. And then we were talking about Pennyworth, and he's like, well, Pennyworth is getting a season 2, so it'll be tied with Krypton. I'm like, I know.
Yeah, and 10 episodes. If it's 10 episodes a season, then it's gonna be exactly tied with Krypton.
So I'm just like, man,
I need to finish watching Pennyworth.
I'm just like, man, Krypton was so good, season 2.
It was. It hit the ground running, and it's just a shame that, you know, it was on Sci-Fi, which is notorious for canceling shows, but also, you know, for just producing content that it doesn't get to monetize that well.
You're absolutely correct. So, but what is life? I mean, we can only take what they give us.
A great series of disappointments with some levity thrown in there once in a while.
True.
No, I'm no, I don't look at life that way.
This is very true. Why are you being so sad here? But no, I mean, James is absolutely right. Like, we gotta be happy and take what we get, and sometimes we just, I don't know, we just don't get what we want, and we're teased with so much goodness. Speaking of teased, did you see the photo that Jason Momoa released for continuing the Snyder Cut? Spoilers for anyone who hasn't seen the photo. It shows that Steppenwolf was a defeated effort between Wonder Woman and Aquaman, with Aquaman basically spearing Steppenwolf while a portal boom tomb opened in the background where Darkseid was supposed to come through. So,
which is interesting. One thing is interesting. I'm wondering how much of the background is completed for that photo or what, because that's different than the boom tubes they gave us. It almost makes me wonder if they changed the boom tubes in post after Zach left to be coming down like that, as opposed to say, oh yeah, it's coming down from another world. Well, it's not exactly like
a boom tube always appears sideways.
Yeah, it always appeared flat. It looked flat until somebody actually entered it or came out of it, and it's a wormhole between dimensions. It's not like a direct portal from another planet. You know what I mean? So it didn't come straight down from one place to another.
Exactly.
That did bug me in the movie. I was like, well, I mean, that's something different, but that's not what the boom tubes have always been. So, and after that image, it makes me wonder, and I thought about it when they had mentioned that image of the Justice League looking up and seeing Darkseid through the boom tube. How would they see Darkseid through that boom tube unless they're directly underneath it and Darkseid is looking down at them or something? So the fact that they could see Darkseid looking up at this large circle portal that's actually facing them in the sky, they could see Darkseid.
Exactly. So that's I feel like we just need to have a segment on here called Justice League News.
Hashtag release the Snyder Cut.
Yeah. I mean, and people out there get over it. Well, you know what? It'd be one thing if it was just one of those oh, it's rumored, but there's so much evidence we've seen so much. We know it exists in some form. You know, we constantly have people who worked on the film coming out and saying stuff. So it's not like it's a dead movement. It's a continual movement. So
it's still growing. It's being picked up by more and more creatives in the industry. It's being picked up by mainstream media outlets to spread, you know, that this hashtag release the Snyder Cut movement is still growing. I mean, the people who created this have paid to put up billboards of this in San Diego and New York, like, and paid to be where they are to try and make this thing happen. Those billboards have to cost a lot of money. So if these people are willing to put that out to be able to get the movie released, like, these are people who are going to see the movie as many times as possible in the box office when it's released. I know if it's released in the box office, I'm going to go see that movie 5 times in the theater.
Oh, dude, I'll go. I'll be like, where are you going, Tyler? Well, I got to go to work at noon, but I'm going to hit Justice League before I head into the office.
Right.
Tyler, where
I'm taking the weekend and I'm going to Columbus and me, Tyler, and Brian are going to go see the Justice League Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
So, man, I heard you took vacation. What'd you do? I saw Justice League. What else? No,
I saw Justice League. I walked out of the theater. I bought a ticket and I went back in.
So I took my mom. I took my brother. I took my dad. So you just went and watched Justice League a lot? Yeah. Support the cause, man.
Right. Like I looked up the times. I said, you be here at this time. I'll watch it with you. I looked at the times. I told this next person, you be here at this time. And I saw it with them. And then I saw, and then I told this next person to be here at this time. So I spent 10 hours today in the theater watching Justice League.
Exactly. And people are like, oh, but hey, you know what? It's what we love. But moving on, we love, we love it. We hope for it. I mean, so that's all we can do. Hope for the best. Support the cause.
Hope springs eternal. It's kind of what Supergirl and Superman stand for.
Exactly. And that's what we can do. So on that note, we're going to pop in. James, do you have your lovely summary prepared for us today?
Yes, I do.
So, James, why don't you go ahead and take it away?
Supergirl, Season 5, Episode 5, Dangerous Liaisons. Lena experiments on Malefic to duplicate his mental inception power. Malefic cooperates after Lena promises to help him overcome his inhibition to kill John Jones. But Lena reneges and uses the power to keep him in captivity. Kara and William pursue leads to an assassin named Rip Roar, who William believes killed his friend Russell Rogers. Rip Roar steals a laser weapon from an army base and uses it to launch a devastating flood, though Supergirl, John, and Dreamer are able to prevent mass casualties. It is revealed that Rip Roar is Rogers, knows Andrea, and is under control of Leviathan instead of the Rojas family, as William had theorized. Andrea launches her VR product. Andrea's launch of her VR product is successful, where Day only confronted a simulation Andrea that he made. When Andrea is in her limousine, her connections with Leviathan are revealed when she is visited by the elderly representative who informs Andrea about what happened to Rip Roar.
All right. That was a great breakdown. Thank you, James. We always appreciate your contributions of that because, frankly, it's amazing. It helps with so much.
Yeah, it's a fun introduction since Krypton, keeping the synopsis and everything that happens and talking points.
Yeah, I mean, we take detailed notes when we watch these shows, but then sometimes, we forget things because we are human and we have children. I always like to emphasize that so people realize we have children because that takes up so much of my time. Like James and I were supposed to record yesterday, but Solomon was real sick, and of course he don't feel well. And who does he want? Daddy. He's like, Daddy, and I'm like, okay, buddy. Like, I'm not mad or nothing. I'm like, okay, I'll take care of you. It's my job.
Yeah, we can always get this out. I mean, we like to try and keep it as consistent as possible, but family comes first. We love doing this and putting it out for you guys, but we have children and they have needs, and that's what's important. We listen to podcasts as well. So
yeah, I mean, so we do the best that we can and we move forward. That is our life's mission. So this episode, okay, I wrote in my notes because I have been watching all the Terminator movies because Brian and I just went and saw Dark Fate. And I even got Solomon. Solomon watched Terminator Salvation and Terminator Genesis with me. I let him because they're PG-13 and I know what he can handle and how his attention span goes. And everything.
Yeah, those ones aren't quite horror and quite like gruesome death filled.
Right.
Like one and two isn't as bad, but
they're packed more action, attention, more like a modern movie. Especially, I realize, especially Salvation, like he liked because of like the different robots and stuff and the way it was. But anyways, I say all that because this introductory ad that Rojas does just reminds me of something I had seen. Like they're about to launch Skynet and take over the world. Like, are you plugged in? Are you ready? Obsidian North. Like I'm just like, every day I'm just more and more like, yeah, how have not the machines risen up and killed us yet? Like, but that's another story because I'm just like, it's going to happen. But so that's how I felt watching this. Their ad was just very interesting at the beginning. And we get a really interesting, okay. So last episode, Kara is working with Doomsday, is what I want to call him, but that's not his name on this. William. And it'd be awesome if they just connected and he actually is Doomsday. I could write a whole backstory. I got this, guys. And what I find fascinating, okay, is that she can't tell Nia what's going on. And I know that's like, that might be disrespectful to William that Nia knows. But let's just face it that you're a Supergirl, and Nia keeps your secret, and she's Dreamer, and you guys all work as like a covert team. And you're telling me that you can't tell her, hey, don't tell William that you know, but this is what's going on.
Yeah. Well, what should be good after this is they realize that that it couldn't be Andreas's plan, couldn't be Rojas's plan because it would take out Obsidian North. It would take out their manufacturing hub, and it would take out the largest population centers of the world, and they would lose billions. So they kind of chalk it up to like, well, she wouldn't eliminate her entire her entire life's work for this. So like maybe moving forward, it would be something that hopefully they don't just be like, oh, Nia's like, you lied to me. You couldn't tell me. And then she gets all mad because that would just be annoying. That would just be stupid CW dramatic irony.
That's when you're just like, in one way I want to say no. Like I think Nia would be better than that. But in another way, I want to say I hope she isn't. And I say that before anyone gets mad at me, okay? I just did an episode of the Arrowverse podcast thing with Phil and Lilith, and we were just kind of discussing all the CW shows, and I said, my biggest thing right now is I think Supergirl's supporting cast has gotten too big. that we're losing Supergirl. We're losing some of what makes the show because we have all these other characters that we are trying to deal with. And I think that it's hurting the series. And I think like it's interesting that Dreamer has carried over compared to in other series where they've had somebody and they've kind of been one and done.
Yeah.
And I just think that's very interesting.
Yeah, that doesn't continually happen. We know of a lot of people within Flash and Arrow
sometimes
that they showed up in a season and then by the end of the season they're gone, or after the season they're just gone. They're not back.
Yeah, I mean, Flash, we got elongated man, Ralph. He's been around now for a couple of seasons. This is his third season, and I love Ralph. But we also lost Eddie and Ronnie. We
pretty much we've lost Wally.
Yeah, and we lost Wally too. So I mean,
Jesse Quick. I mean, she's on another Earth, but
is she, or is she dead?
Well, I was gonna say she's probably dead now.
But the idea is that they were able to move things around, and I feel like that's something that's greatly missing on Supergirl. Is we have not done that in a while. We have not gotten back to that, and I think that if maybe they found a way to write out Dreamer or something, not that I hate the character, I just feel that some characters show up on a series, they're great for so long, and then
isn't she supposed to have? Is it her in the future, or is it one of her descendants in the future?
See, Phil and Lil suggested, Phil and Lil, like for those Rugrat fans out there, suggested.
I never put that together.
I've said it before, but I'm going to keep on saying it. They suggested, why not have her and Brady take off and go to the future together? And I'm like, that would be great. Kind of do this thing like we're going to go to the future, and let's kind of put Supergirl back in like the cage, in the way that like let's isolate her. Let's get rid of the DEO, kind of break down her support system. And for example, for all you guys out there, Supernatural fans, James and I are big Supernatural fans. We're actually going to do a Supernatural podcast probably starting in the fall or summer. Just surprise.
Surprise.
But if you look at that show, about season 7 is where they stripped down and changed it. Season 7, spoilers for, a 7-year series season, they killed off Bobby. They destroyed Bobby's house, the junkyard, and put the Winchesters on the run. And then in season 8, they got the bunker, which is where
have they had the bunker that long?
Yeah,
Dang.
crazy, right? I still remember season 7 and 6 like it was yesterday. But I say that because it was like they not rebooted, but they retooled the show during the show. They gave it some fresh life. We got fresh life when we moved the DEO. But I feel like the DEO has kind of run its course. We've freshed it up with John. Let's get into John more as like an investigator, like him as, helping people as a private investigator. Let's get into that. And Supergirl, let's focus maybe her more at Catco and alleviate the DEO, something to kind of shift it and change it up. And like that's kind of what part of my hopes are for Crisis is a soft reboot of the universe, to where we can change things up and just kind of move forward.
Yeah. Well, with Crisis, I mean, there's potential for people to be eliminated, potential for people to, change time periods,
There's a lot,
as the Earths merge, that kind of stuff.
There is a lot of potential, and I'm not. What's the word? I'm not against anything happening. I'm just not getting my hopes up for any particular, like, oh my gosh, in Crisis, I bet this is going to happen. I'm just going to kind of let it all slide because,
Yeah.
I don't know what's going to happen.
So I'm behind on Tuesday night shows. I'm like 2 episodes behind on Flash and Arrow, which I'm going to try and catch up on today. But I heard that somehow Mia and William come to the past, and not sure how they accomplished that or whatever. But as I'm reading Crisis on Infinite Earths, because I'm 200 and some pages into Crisis on Infinite Earths out of 350 something pages.
That's right. James is reading it all. He's taking it all.
Yeah. Actually, I'm looking it up real quick. I'm 224 out of I think 359. Yeah.
It's just James is the man.
So I got a month. I got 1 month to finish it up. I'll be done before then. But I know as the Earths are merging, like, time becomes unstable. So all of time overlaps as well. So, like, future and the past are all merged with the present. So, like, all these characters are involved. So I see, like, that as somehow of how they would bring Mia into the current timeline and move forward with their Green Arrow and Canaries show. But I don't know how they have done it yet in the show.
I will say this. So Junia and I were discussing, this is kind of related, but just like how Sayla is so independent and like just like a tough girl. She's just like, no, I can do it, or whatever. Like, she's just like, no, Daddy, I got this. And I was like, man, so like I was just joking with Junia about this whole thing. It's like I could see in the future, like, 'cause Solomon has such like a sweet heart, he's so compassionate and like caring and nice. I could see like in the future Solomon ask out some girl and she says no and's kind of mean to him, and then I get a call from like the principal about my daughter beating up like 4 girls in the bathroom.
Right.
And I go like to the school and I'm like, what happened? And so like I'm saying that, and I was like, I picture Sayla being like Mia and Solomon kind of being like William, a little bit more timid, quiet, really smart, and Sayla just being like, I'll fight them all.
Right.
She's already like fearless, jumping from things, flipping. She's like trying to leap off her bunk bed, and I'm like, oh my God.
You know what? And I hope that sticks with her. Okay.
So do I.
Because I'm gonna go off on that, or I'm gonna take that and go off on my own thing here. My kids are similar. Jimmy, he's the older brother. He's, my son is autistic. He's high functioning, but he's incredibly compassionate and he's very smart. Like, he will give everything over to his sister. And now that them being almost 10 and 11 here very soon, she has gotten to the point where she understands that and she takes advantage of that. Not in a good way. But anyways, that's not what I was trying to say. Back in the day when she was young, she just learned to walk. And she was following around all the boys because she was the only girl. My son, my ex's sister's sons, my sister's sons, she was the only girl. She was chasing around. She was running around with the boys. She was getting dirty with the boys. She was punching and hitting. She was fighting around. She didn't cry for nothing. She was tough. And now she is a little princess. She is a girly girl. For the longest time, she cried about everything. And so I'm like, what happened to the tough little girl who would beat up the boys? Like now you're just. So like I said, I hope she maintains that and doesn't turn around and be a little princess.
I'm trying to like cultivate her, like be that like Wonder Woman, like warrior princess. Like,
yeah, I've told Bella, like, you can love all the girly stuff. I said, but toughen up.
Yeah, you can still
be what you were before. You be a pretty girl in a dress and kick somebody's ass, man. Like,
we'll never see it coming.
Yeah, exactly.
But no, I feel you. Like, you watch your kids, and Sayla right now. What's interesting is like she's really picked up on Supergirl and Harley. Because she's like she loves wearing her Supergirl costume and saying I Supergirl, or she'll be like I Harley, and I'm like, oh, okay, cool, that's cool, baby,
Mm-hmm.
But it's just funny what kids do sometimes. But back to Supergirl episode, and Supergirl actually is one of the shows that the kids will watch anything with me, but like Supergirl and Flash are like our family shows, and Batwoman's one that Junia and I watch together, and the kids will watch. But like Supergirl and Flash are definitely like the ones we watch as a family, and because I like them to see the characters, and especially for Sayla to see Supergirl kick butt,
Right. Yeah, the three I've been able to keep up on is Batwoman, Supergirl, and Black Lightning. I like Black Lightning.
Yeah, me too.
This season's really good.
And Solomon likes Black Lightning too. He'd be like, Daddy, when's Black Lightning on? So I'm like, oh, it's cool. But all that to say, it's important that kids watch good stuff. So
yes, sir. DC content. Shove it down their throats.
So we get to see Phil Lamar as Malefic. We actually get to see him, and I'm happy with that. Like, I know I said I wanted Phil Morris to be Malefic just because I wanted to see, a scene of my 3 Martian Manhunters. But like, So Junia, while you were watching it, I said, Junia, close your eyes real quick. She's like, okay. And I was like, just listen to him talk. And she's like, he said like 2 words, and she's like, that's Jon Stewart. I'm like, yes, it is. I'm like, yes, it is.
Nice.
Because Junia loves Jon Stewart from Justice League. Like, that is a cartoon that like is timeless. So I like that it's him. I like where they're going. I think it's kind of crazy the extent of just where Lena is. She is just completely broken down. She's angry. She wants to control emotion of humans. Like, that's some psycho stuff. Jimmy's officially gone now. So what's going to happen,
Yeah, Lena is going full on evil, man. She's she has her what's the word I'm looking for? Her noble intentions. Mm-hmm. She doesn't want people to lie and hurt each other anymore.
But I mean, that's human nature. Like, when you get to the point where you want to just completely alter like human nature and free will, like, you've crossed into like supervillainy. Yeah.
And exactly that's the thing there, alter free will. When you say human nature, people are going to fight and unfortunately kill. There are bad choices that people make. There are bad people and there are bad choices that people make. And she wants to eliminate the choice. I mean, you don't have to be that way. You don't have to make those choices. I've never chose to, I've never chose to kill my fellow man. Right. Been in fights and stuff before, but also I'm not one to initiate fights. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. That is a last resort when it comes to that. So,
I mean, we have the choice to be bad people.
Yeah.
But we don't, that is what makes us. I mean, the choices that we make is what gives us the ability to be good or not.
I mean, she's basically trying to create the anti-life equation through inception means.
That is a really good idea.
That's one thing I'm hoping for, just actually talking it out right now. That's one thing I maybe hope for in the next season of Supergirl or something. This idea of eliminating free will, the anti-life equation. Perhaps we will get some Granny Goodness and Female Furies to go up against Supergirl next season.
Dude. That's what I was... Okay, so that's what I originally thought when they were bringing in the old Leviathan lady.
Mm-hmm.
I thought
she might have been a granny or something.
Exactly. I was like, oh, is this going to be Granny? But no, she was Leviathan. And I'm like, okay. And I do like that in this episode, we actually get some reference to Leviathan again, And it's just so weird because they're bringing Leviathan in to Supergirl, which is, it's brand new in the comics because Leviathan issue 6 isn't even out yet. Unless I missed it somehow, but I'm pretty sure
it's not out yet.
That would have blown up everything on my, my accounts and everything about who is Leviathan because it hasn't been revealed yet. So it's not even over. Like, Event Leviathan isn't even over. And it was just starting when Supergirl went on break. So here we are, and they're already, doing this. So I'm just kind of like, it's kind of a big deal,
Yeah. And might I say, I have to say that Event Leviathan has been written fairly good for having 5 issues of people standing around and asking the question, who's Leviathan? Are you Leviathan? No, you're not Leviathan. Who's Leviathan?
Yeah.
So it's been fairly well written for having 5 issues of people asking the same question and nothing happening.
Yeah, they attacked Jason Todd because they thought he was Leviathan, which I thought was crap because I thought that was just too easy of a target. And I don't like the new Red Hood. I'm sorry. I know his name's the Red Hood. I preferred him more as the Red Helmet. I don't like this very Mortal Kombat looking Red Hood thing. I feel like Sub-Zero called and needs his mask back. So. But getting back, there's some stuff in here that was pretty dumb when they're investigating Andrea's room and William gets on the computer and I'm just like, yeah, that's easy to do right there. Smart.
Yeah, hack a tech genius's computer. Yeah, and
that was my first indication. I was like, maybe William's not straight about some stuff, but I don't know.
Well, this episode, he kind of it kind of goes where he's doing this investigation all on his own. This isn't a journalist thing. This is personal. Mm-hmm. His buddy, who we find out it ends up being Rip Roar.
Right. Was that a surprise to you?
They show the guy and then they show Rip Roar, even though he's I think what's his name, Ray on DC TV. He put it perfect. He looks like RoboCop Doc Ock.
Exactly. I was gonna say, or an old version of Cyclops.
But you could tell, as soon as you saw the lower half of his face, you saw his mouth and everything. I was like, that's going to be his buddy.
Okay. First of all, Junia and I have had this discussion a lot. If I was a masked hero, and unless I'm wearing a full on mask, like Spider-Man or something, she's going to know it's me. Okay.
It's like Green Lantern. You don't think I could I could recognize you just because I can't see your cheekbones.
So my wife's going to be like, Tyler, what are you doing? Okay. So
I'm saving Columbus, man.
Yeah.
What do you mean? What am I doing?
So let's just throw that out there. So yeah, for him to this is his best pal, and for his best pal to just come walking out and him be like, "Who are you? What are you doing here?" I just be like, "Bro, why are you wearing a costume?" I have friends. We've dressed up and done dumb stuff. Okay. I know it was them. I could tell.
I mean, he walked into his buddy's house. The door was cracked open. Maybe it was busted off the latch. And then his apartment was a disaster. He probably knows that his buddy doesn't keep an apartment like that. So he would think that something happened, something went wrong. And then you see some guy in a crazy costume come out. I mean, maybe your first thing would be like, "Hey dude, what are you doing?" But
yeah, I mean, okay, I'll give it to you. I'll let it slide, James. Okay. I'll let it slide. But still, I'm just like, man, it just sucks that is his friend. And I almost would have preferred more of it actually being another character.
Yeah. Who's being controlled by Leviathan, mind you. That's an interesting thing.
What's Leviathan?
Leviathan.
Maybe Leviathan. Ooh, you know what I just thought of?
What's that?
Because I don't know why I didn't put this together and I feel stupid. But in the comic, Leviathan takes out Spiral, the DEO,
Argus. Yeah, the majority of the
organization,
intelligence and espionage organizations around the world.
So they could take out the DEO in this, and that's what could get us away from the DEO as Leviathan takes over, wipes it out.
Right. That's a possibility. Yeah, that could be a way that they're going with it. That would help to retool Supergirl. Leviathan takes down the DEO.
So it would be cool.
Yeah.
I don't have any idea what more, but I need more.
Well, we don't know much about anything of Leviathan from the comics, and then we know even less about Leviathan in the show. But here in the show, they've had Eve the entire time. So even back through her Lex Luthor days, they had Eve. They have Andrea Rojas. Yeah, Rojas, yes. They had Andrea Rojas and her family, perhaps, her tech. They have to be involved in Obsidian North's virtual reality, I don't know, overtake of the world.
Yeah, and I mean, if you have everybody plugged into something virtual, think about it. I can see everyone's going to be on Obsidian North's virtual reality, and then that's when Lena's going to do her Q-Wave thing.
Yeah. So the curious thing...
Take over everybody through Obsidian North.
Right. Yeah. So there's the connection between Lena. But if Andrea is part of Leviathan, and Leviathan sent Rip Roar to... So what he does in this is he breaks into a military base to Lex's vault and steals one of Lex's cannons. And then he breaks into another place and he steals some kind of fusion generator or something. And by combining the two, it creates a cannon that can fire a blast that's 100 times hotter than the center of the sun. And he goes, as Rip Roar, he goes to an Antarctic research base located over the largest subterranean lake in the world. and uses the cannon and fires it into that lake and boils the lake, creates a huge geyser spewing out billions of gallons of water every second, and creates a tidal wave that is heading towards the entire west coast of the country. But what is Leviathan's goal here? What are they doing? Trying to eliminate half the population on the planet with this move of creating a flood and destroying and melting Antarctica?
Right.
Like, but also, like, I mean, obviously a nation like this, they would have many balls in the air. They would have a lot of goals, many outlets to achieve different goals, and Obsidian North, Andrea Rojas being one of them, but also, you know, that elimination of part of the population. So there's they have a lot of different goals, but some of them seem counteractive to another coming from this episode. So we don't know much about them, but what are they trying to do?
Exactly. What is their goals? Because, I mean, I don't know. Do they have any clear-cut goals?
Well, not yet. I mean, they have control of Andrea Rojas, and
right.
You know, she's got Obsidian, which is going to connect the world over.
Which brings us, because they mentioned that she's going to accomplish what Lex Luthor didn't or couldn't.
So is that them? Did they have a connection to Lex, or is that just, you know, keeping tabs on Lex?
Right.
You know, I would think more of keeping tabs on what Lex is doing, because Lex isn't quite the follower. I don't think he'd join Leviathan without a plan to rise to the top. That's the Lex Luthor I know.
Right, exactly.
You know, Lex Luthor doesn't join any team, Legion of Doom, what have you, without either, you know, being the leader or having a way to rise to the top.
Agreed. So it makes me wonder more about how much he knew, what he knew. Did he leave any kind of message for Lena about Leviathan in any of his journals? Because we saw how he coached things. So,
yeah.
But all right, what else happened in this episode? Anything else exciting? Let's see.
The one thing I'm not sure. Yeah, the tidal wave. That's the one thing I'm not sure of. Like, a tidal wave that's supposed to smash the entire west coast of the country.
It was coastal. Because the way they talked, it sounded like it was going to be like East Coast and West Coast, or like Japan, like everything coastal, you know? And I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, they had said that the impending flood from the geyser, from the ocean, would start flooding coastal cities within 12 minutes. That's how much water was coming out. But then...
That's some dope.
Yeah, that's a lot of water. But then they said that the explosion from the geyser caused a tidal wave that was heading towards the west coast, which is where National City is located. That it was heading towards the west coast, and they said, what part of the west coast? And they said the entire thing. So, like, at least like Washington, Canada, or Washington, you know, all the way down to Mexico. Like, that is a massive tidal wave. And somehow Dreamer, like, I don't know what she did. They did not elaborate. She just did it.
Yeah, her powers have not been elaborated on.
Apparently she's pretty powerful, if that's the case, because, I mean, Barry Barry ran at supersonic speeds and traveled in time to prevent a tidal wave. Superman and Supergirl have in the past created a canal underwater to stop a tidal wave, have frozen a tidal wave, like have used heat vision and turned it to steam and eliminated a flood. Like, so they've done some pretty huge things to stop a tidal wave, and Dreamer just kind of like whipped her dream powers out and brushed it away.
Yeah, I feel like some of the stuff they don't keep well enough track of, like they don't have like a meter gauge of the powers of the characters because they don't know what they want to do. But yeah, so I mean, the other thing was Brainy put on the spider, like the spider host things, the aliens.
Yeah, like the alien parasite thing.
And that was kind of funny and cool.
Alphasian.
But it was something.
Yeah, that was cool though. What was it? What was the keyword? It was a Keanu Reeves.
Oh yeah. Man, why can't I think of it?
Yeah. Dang, I can't believe something hot shot.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a good time to watch Brady like bust out.
It was a pop quiz hot shot. That's what it was. From Point Break. Pop quiz hot shot.
So,
that's Point Break, right?
Yep. That pretty much sums up this episode. It was good. I enjoyed it. I like certain storylines more. I would like to see. I don't know. I would like to see some things develop with Supergirl more. She just seems like she's just kind of coasting. Like, what's her storyline? You know, I'd actually like to see her quit Catco.
You know, she's involved right now. Kind of. So the William investigation, her friendship with Lena, her working at Catco under Andrea Rojas, it all connects back to, Malefic and Leviathan. So she's just on the outside, not knowing what's going on yet. She hasn't been able to connect the dots.
And that's kind of, like I said, like I would like, I don't know. I just want some change up on something because I feel like the Catco story kind of it's changing, especially with Andrea. Let's maybe mix it up a little bit. But any other final thoughts, James?
Well, Lena successfully mapped and copied Malefic's Inception powers.
Oh yeah.
In this episode, she makes a deal with Malefic about removing his mental block that would allow him to kill John Jones, which she openly agrees to but lied about, because her goal here is to stop people from hurting one another. But she copies those powers and she manages to incept Malefic and keep him locked up prisoner. So that's quite a move.
And that's how she's going to use his power, Q waves and everything to take over and use Andrea to basically control the world. It would be
she basically like recreated Obsidian North contacts to use the Q waves to incept him. It was pretty cool.
Exactly. She's too smart. It's scary.
Yeah, she's able to accomplish a lot. and kind of makes it seems like they underutilized her. If she's able to do this, like, makes it seem like they underutilized her until they wanted to put her into a villainous role.
Yeah, I think sometimes it's just like the motivation behind something. Like she's angry and she's focused.
The turtle. It's dull.
So. But that is the episode, Dangerous Liaison. Let us know what you think, dear listeners. Hit us up on our social media. And remember,
Look up in the sky.
Look in the sky.
if you're an Amazon shopper, just remember you can go to southgatemediagroup.com. There's a portal, log into Amazon, and you'll shop into your account just regular, but it also helps keep Southgate